I speak to you this morning not as Secretary of Homeland Security and not as a Democrat. I speak to you as a concerned private citizen and the father of a member of the United States Coast Guard. We are in the midst of a security crisis, and it is one of our own making, frankly. I used to say when I was the leader of Homeland Security that our most valuable security resource are our own people, the very people we depend upon to protect us are the people we are now inflicting a financial insecurity. The very people we depend on for our security are made to suffer by this shutdown, by inflicting stress, hardship, anxiety, and anger into their personal lives and the lives of our family. A breaking point may come tomorrow when they miss a paycheck for the second time this year. As former Administrator Neffinger can tell you, absentee rates at TSA have been as high as 10%. The starting salary of a TSO is something in the range of $28,000. They, like a number of others in the Department of Homeland Security, really do live paycheck to paycheck. Our customs personnel who secure our ports and our airports from dangerous incoming contraband, drugs, and so forth, special interest aliens, are made to suffer as a result of our failure to pass a budget. As Chairman Thompson knows, for years, while I was in office, we fought high attrition rates in the United States Secret Service, and we're able to make lots of progress to turn that around. I fear that this shutdown and the missing paychecks are a huge setback. Our Border Patrol agents have not been paid now for 2 pay periods. They, too, live pay period to pay period. My own son's shipmates, I fear, are going broke. At basic training in Cape May, New Jersey, recruits are deciding to go to another military service. An assistant U.S. attorney that I know in Florida, who is regarded as essential government personnel, was handed yesterday a memo with options for food banks and relief at churches. From a security standpoint, we are letting our guard down. If this shutdown ended tomorrow, I fear that the damage already done to our security will be months, if not years, as a result through high attrition, lack of re-enlistment, recruitment efforts have all been set back. A journalist I know and respect told me yesterday that he feared we'd have to wait for a catastrophic event to finally resolve this shutdown. I refuse to accept that. My message to both political parties and both political branches of government: it is time for leadership. It is time to get back to the basic role of governing, the most basic thing our political leaders can do for the people that elect them is to keep the government open and pay the workers. And we are failing at that right now. End this shutdown. Thank you.
A few days ago, I walked onto a Coast Guard base in Boston and I saw something I never thought I would witness on American soil. Members of our armed forces were lined up at a food pantry while they were on the clock because their employer, the United States government, wasn't paying them for the work that they put in that day. Madam Speaker, look around this country and you will see nearly 1 million civil servants and more than 1 million contract workers who are forced to defer medical care, find part-time jobs, return Christmas presents, take out loans, pawn valuable possessions, draw down retirement savings just to afford to feed their family and to keep a roof over their head. You'll find families that are terrified that their food stamps will run out. You will see notices threatening eviction for families who are upholding their end of their rent, while the government might default on its own. You will see businesses struggling to stay afloat under lost federal support. Domestic violence organizations who have to turn away survivors because critical grant funding isn't coming through. Yes, this is about a misguided and demagogued immigration fight. And yes, this is squarely about a president who couldn't keep his promise. But at its core, it is about an administration that has spent 2 years treating the livelihood of working families as a bargaining chip, quickly traded away time and again to protect power, profit, and political gain. Theirs is a system that asks American workers to make painful sacrifices that those in power only read about. A system where tax cuts for international corporations are paid for by Medicaid cuts for working families. Where healthcare premiums skyrocket for the sick and the suffering, while healthcare industry executives reap reward. Where labor protections for workers are wiped out, as distant CEOs lay off loyal employees and gut pensions. Where a safety net that keeps fellow Americans afloat shrinks and tears as their president smiles and holds the scissors. Where profits accrue to those who have already profited, and the loss is borne by those who can least afford to bear it. Beyond this shutdown, beyond this president, our government needs to prove to the American people that we are fighting for them. Because right now, they don't believe we are in their corner. And I don't blame them. Yield back.